Hello everyone and welcome to one another, well not the last one, but yet one another Brothers War draft. A traditional draft it is. There will be a few more after this, but of course then the next set will release and I will be getting finally some new set draft content on the channel. Alright, so the first pick here is going to be the Autonomous Assembler. It's going to be playable in any deck. The 5 mana version of the card is still quite good. If you are also white, you have the cheaper option available, which is a pure bonus. The next best card in the pack, I think there are two which are very close to each other. There's the Mask of the Jade Crafter that can be, you know, good in certain kind of decks, and late in the game very good. The Overwhelming Remorse is also very good. So these are two to the next best cards. I think I might take the removal over the Mask, but they're very close. Neither of them really pickable over the Assembler, because this is really a house. If your opponent doesn't remove it, it can take over the game by itself. And of course it is a colorless first pick, so this will make my deck no matter what. Here Blast Zone, not quite. It's a playable card, but not really a high pick. I will take something else over it. I believe the best card in the pack. Well, it depends on. There are cards that are better or worse in certain archetypes, but I think this early in the draft, and I don't know about any my archetypes, I will lean towards picking the Argotian Sprite, which is gonna be great in any kind of a green deck. The Strong Bull, for instance, can be better than the Sprite in the correct deck, but I'm not able to predict now whether I'm gonna get the kind of deck where this thing shines. Weakstone's Subjugation is a decent removal spell. There's Ironheart's Wings, which is not exactly a pack 1, pick 2 pick, but it's still a good card. Anyway, I'll take the Sprite. There was also the Airlift Chapline, which is fine. I mean, probably better than fine. I would say it's a slightly better than average 3-drop. Now this pack shows me some white. Now, well, out of these 5 white cards, of course, the good ones are the Recruitment Officer, and then I like the Recommission quite a bit. But the best card in the pack is the Take Flight. I think I should take the Take Flight here. Also, it is a splashable card. I probably wouldn't splash it as my only blue card, but if I get something else that is splashable, I mean from the color blue, I could just go for the splash in that case. But I think that it is enough better than the Recruitment Officer that I'll just take this. And there's also a possibility I will, of course, end up with main color. Blue as one of my main colors. Okay, this pack is also nice. There's a Prison Sentence, Weakstone Subjugation, Disfigure, and also playable cards like Onulet and the Patrol here. Well, kind of course, want to be blue and green, which might be considered one of the weaker archetypes, but it can be a good deck, no problem about that. I'm just thinking that maybe I should kind of take the hint that white could be open, because last pack had still a lot of white, and this one has a Prison Sentence. But I could also just take the Weakstone Subjugation, which is kind of the same, and it works better with my blue pick. I'm gonna take it. And okay, well, wow, this pack doesn't have anything white. Well, it has this one, but it's not an interesting one. So easy pick here. I'll go to Sprite here, of course. The rare is just unplayable. It's actually 7 mana on your turn, and 10 mana on your opponent's turn, and you don't really want to play this on your turn. So this is a 10 mana spell you can't cast with Power Stones. So no, it's unplayable and limited. Argotian Sprite number 2 is easy pick, given that it suits very well my previous picks. I might just be a blue-green deck. Curate, Agent, Honor Guard. None of them particularly interesting. I do have a couple of 2-drops. I guess the Honor Guard is somehow a little bit better when you have a Take Flight in your deck, because the Ward 2 can help nicely. It will be 4 power flyer. It will be blocked by anything that has any kind of a power value other than 0. But yeah, I'm taking the 2-drop here. I might even cut it from the deck, but that pack wasn't so good for me. Now here, I'm gonna stick to green and blue, but I do note that white is actually open here. But I think I like the blue enough that I'm not going to move into green-white here with a splash, which is a possibility, but I don't think the Loran is that good here. Powerstone Engineer might be okay, but yeah. I think the question is between the Clear Cutter and the Pristine Talisman, and I think I like the fact that this can be also 6 mana 3/6, a good blocker, not so good attacker, but let's take this creature version of that thing. But I like the Pristine Talismans, the life gain. It can really add up nicely. Right, Citadel Stalwart, very easy pick. And Fallacy Archaeologist. How about the Matrix? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so out of my 6 creatures, only half trigger this thing. I don't think I want to play it, really. I'm not sure if I want to play the Archaeologist either in this kind of deck. I think it might even be more possible that I actually play this, but let's put it to the sideboard anyway. Alright, I don't like the Coilers Rock. I just don't. But I suppose the Clear Cutter can help me get it on turn 4, because this is one of the few mana accelerants in this set that doesn't, that's not usable only for artifact spells. Or non. Let's say also it works. Power Stones work for abilities, but you know what I mean. Coilers Rock I will pick, but not sure if it's gonna end up in the deck. Pallbearer, Desynchronize. Well, I guess both are really mediocre. This is 1 mana too many. I don't like to pay 5 mana for this effect. I think I'd rather just have the actual creature here. And a Springleaf Drum, which I won't be playing because the Stalwart is better, but I suppose I can take the Demolition Field if I see a creature land from the opponent. I'm not gonna play these, so I'm going to just take the uncommon Wasteful Harvest or Swift Gear Drake. I guess the Drake is like theoretically more playable. Siege Veteran, huh? Alright, well this is a pack. First, of course, the rare is the best card in the pack. It's a crazy good rare. I have no way to splash other than the 1 Stalwart here, which is not, of course, that reliable. But it's early in the draft, I can find more ways to splash with. Now this pack also has a Giant Cinder, very good card. Scrapwork Mutt, very good card. Mask of the Jade Crafter, very good uncolored card. And there's a Sculpting Steel, which I usually like to play when I have myself a lot of artifacts, but this can copy also opponent's artifacts. But this might just start as a sideboard card when you don't have a lot of things to copy yourself. But also can be sided in if opponent has a lot of things. But now here the question is, it's only between the Mask and the Siege Veteran. As good as this thing is, but I think the Mask is, not as good, but it still doesn't mean, it means I don't have to twist my mana base. So I'm going to actually pass the Siege Veteran and keep my deck as a green-blue deck here. Although I do understand that I might not be very heavily into blue here. By the way, I'm also passing another Giant Cinder here. Well, someone's getting presents, but it's fine. I take the Sprite, which I'm very happy to pick regardless, so let's just take it. And okay, Thopter Mechanic. Now there is a good blue card, even if you don't have the ways to draw a second card. I do have a Take Flight here at least. Anything else? I don't think so. No, there's nothing else at least yet. But this is still a 2-mana 2/1 that dies into a 1/1 flyer. That's really good, always. It's gonna be the pick here, easy pick. And now I have a slight incentive to pick some ways to, draw 2 cards per turn. Alright, there's a Lodestone Golem. I like the Hevamite and Shoot Down as sideboard cards. There's an Ironheart's Wings, which will be decent as well. And then there's also the Curate, but there's also a 4-mana 5/3 that makes some of my cards cost more. How about the mana curve? I could take a 4-drop here. I actually have no 3-drops. Interesting. Yeah, okay, let's take the 4-drop. I mean, the 4-mana 5/3 is slightly above curve, but it has only 3 toughness. And if I play the Coilers Rock and the Pallbearer, it's gonna actively, be a that's not a good combination, but maybe I can end up cutting those cards. That's what I'm trying to maybe count on. Alright, so reconstructed Thopter versus Wing Commando. I have only 3 non-creatures so far. It's not hard to find more non-creatures though. The deck is not going to be a Blanchwood Armor deck. This thing has the Unearth option. I can cast this with... Well, I don't actually have any power stone productions, well, other than the coilless rock, so I don't have to really care about being able to cast this with power stones, but yeah, Wing Commander is the better card. Yeah, I like the fact that I can actually make it into a bigger, I can make it hit for more than 2. Right, and here I'll take another one over something like a Burnished Hut. I didn't take the Siege Veteran, the White Bomb Rare. If I took, I might be forced to take the Burnished Hut just to have more ways to cast it, but now I can take the better 3-drop out of those. And I'm happy about it. And, well, another Tamakul Honor Guard. The Latinum Adept and both of these 4-drops, they are just not very good. Not very good at all. I have enough 2s maybe. I have like 5 now. Do I want to have another Honor Guard here? I don't care about the 5-bomb. It's too expensive. I'm gonna take the 2-drop rather than those clumsy 4-drops. Okay, now there are some better 2-drops here. Well, I guess the Blanchwood Prowler is... the Air Marshal is just not very exciting. I'm gonna take the Prowler. It's better, I think, than the Honor Guard. And here I can take an Energy Refractor. Maybe... I don't have any splashes other than this prototype casting. The Bulwark is just not what I'm gonna look for this deck. The Refractor is a cantrip for the mechanic. I'm gonna take it for now, mostly if I have something I want to splash, but it's also a cuttable card in this deck, unless I find something like a Mightstone's animation. Here I can take Machine over Matter or Depth Charge Colossus. I'll take the Bounce Spell. I take the Giant Growth here. I'm actually happy to have some tricks here because I lack removal, of course. I'm not playing any of these, so I take the blue card, but I still won't have enough islands to run that. I could play the Tonus Tinkering. I'm actually late in the set. I want to kind of catch my opponents off guard because no one really plays the card, so it's funny to surprise your opponent with it. It does untap a blocker. Okay, Transmogran's Crown. I don't actually have to see what this pack has to offer because this is, despite the black equip option, this is also just a fully colorless card to cast and equip with a 2 mana. It's an amazing equipment, so you always take this. Now that I look what other options this pack gives to me, there is a Foundry Inspector, which I might take. Stern Lesson, I would be more likely to take the Stern Lesson because I do have 2 Wing Commandos, so any instant is gonna be good with prowess. Also, it triggers the Thopter mechanic. So yeah, the Stern Lesson would be my pick if the crown wasn't here. And something good. Well, there's a Stern Lesson. There's also an Evolving Wilds, Wings, and a Giant Growth. So I think any of these 4 cards could be considered here. I don't have any mana fixing. I don't have any splash. I don't plan to play any planes because of the Assembler. I just use this as a 5 mana card, but I still want to have Evolving Wilds in my 2 color decks. I will have enough playables, that's pretty sure already. I think I can live without an Aeronaut's Wings. I'd rather have the Evolving Wilds, which I really like to have to improve my mana. Okay, there's an Argivian Avenger here. There's also a Rust Goliath, which I don't think... I guess I could have it as a 10 mana spell when I have this as a 6-drop. If I have the 6 mana to cast this, then this will tap for 3. I mean, that means I will have at least 9 mana on the next turn, so potentially 10 at some point. I'm gonna pass another Remorse and the Stone Seeker. These are the best cards in the pack. So is the Avenger gonna be good enough? I don't have that much mana production. This is gonna be a 6-drop. I wish I had some... Yeah, I guess the Stern Lesson... Yeah, it will create a Power Stone, so if I get a Stern Lesson... Yeah, I'm gonna take the Avenger over the Goliath still. But hopefully I will get some... Well, I don't know. I'm not sure how important is it to make this happen. I might even not play it. But yep, another shot at a Wings. Do I care about the Flask? I don't think I do. I don't have Mightstone's animations. I might end up cutting the Refractor. I don't really need to be able to draw cards for this thing. The fact it dies into a 1/1 is making the card good enough. I'll take the Wings now. I might play now both Honor Guards because they are also nice with the Aeronaut's Wings. Alright, Combat Courier, Stalwart, Sprite, another Bounce Spell, another Clear Cutter, but that's not gonna be it. Should I take the Courier now? I have 1 Stalwart, I don't have any need to have multiples of them. I think the decision is between the Sprite and the Courier, but the Courier gives me some flexibility. If I have like awkward draws, I can dig into stuff I need, and it is way to trigger the mechanic to a couple of times. So I'm gonna take the courier now. I have anyway 3 sprites in here. Wing Commando. Yeah, I'll just take the Wing Commandos here. How many non-creatures? I have 9, but I'm not sure how many of them will end up in the deck. Another Wings, I think one is the most I'm gonna play. I already have the Crown here too. So, I don't care about the Air Marshal here. I'll take the Sigil. Maybe there's a match where I want to actually sideboard it in. Now, this is a question between a Haven Might and a Stern Lesson. If I'm gonna play the Avenger, the Stern Lesson is nice. It will trigger my prowess, like I said earlier. Will trigger the mechanic. Yeah, I'm gonna take one Stern Lesson. I would like to have the Might on the sideboard, but what can you do? That's the pick now. Another Tinkering or a Curate. Yeah, maybe. Let's see the mana curve. I'm not sure about the Lodestone Golem if I'm gonna play it or not. Is there a world where I wanna play 2 of these Tinkerings? Let's do it. I mean, I have actually a very low curve. That's the reason I'm deciding for that. Alright, so I get here a decision between another Giant Growth and the Stern Lesson I passed earlier. I have one of these lessons already. But I have some artifacts. I might actually play second lesson here. I like the Giant Growth, but let's do the lesson. And here I can take just an uncommon for a Vault. I'm not playing those. I'm not playing an Archaeologist in this deck. I really don't need a defensive 2-drop. This leans to be a more aggressive deck. Sure. I'm not playing 2 Clear Cutters either, I don't think. That seems to be the draft. 1 card missing. And it's a Fog of War. Right. I'm going to cut the Pallbearer. One of the Clear Cutters, maybe even the second one. Coilstroke. I don't need it in the main deck. Especially if I'm gonna play the Golem, which I think I will. It's actually my only 4-mana creature. And all my expensive stuff are going to be artifact spells, so this doesn't, punish me from trying to cast these guys. And I guess the cards this punish the most is, of course, these cheap tricks, because usually these 1-mana tricks, can be used on turn when you also cast something other stuff too, and then the Thanos Tinkering becomes a 5-mana card. But I think I'm gonna start with it in the main deck, and if it seems like a opponent has a lot of artifacts, I maybe or just has a lot of, let's say, 2-mana 3-1s, or the Scrapwork Cohort, which is a 4-mana 3-1, but also has a lot else going on. I don't want to be trading this guy with such things. So if the opponent basically has an easy way trading this 3 toughness creature with the cheaper stuff, I'm gonna sideboard it out. And now, as it is, what to do? Any easy cuts in here? Refractor is an easy cut. After that, not so much. So this is going to be... Let's first see the creature curve. Because I think I can maybe cut a 2-drop. Or maybe not. I have a 2 1-drops. This is often a 4-mana card. 2 1-drops, and this is now 7 2-drops. I guess I can just get rid of 1 honor guard here. And then maybe the Clear Cutter. It does actually accelerate me into some of this stuff, but it's just a 3-mana 1/3, and I have 3 Wing Commanders, 2 Stern Lessons. That's enough to do stuff on turn 3, and I don't really need to accelerate into this stuff that badly. That is still 25, so I guess one of the Thanos is Tinkering should go, and that's now 14 creatures, 10 non-creatures. So the age-old question is, am I going to play just 16 lands? Because most of the stuff in the deck actually can be cast quite low, with quite small amount of mana. So anything up to this slot here is 3 mana at most. And then once I get access to 3 mana, I have access to 2 Stern Lessons, which in a 16 land deck, this can be just counted as 2 extra mana sources for any of these guys. Now it doesn't help, it actually does help the Weak Stone's Subjugation, because when you cast this with the intention to tap down the permanent, you can of course use the Power Stone mana for that. So I have only 2 cards that the Stern Lesson that cost more than 3 mana, and the Sternless on Power Stone doesn't help casting. It's the Take Flight and 1 Autonomous Tinkering. I want to have the 1 bounce spell here. I want to have the trick, the second trick. I think the equipment are still good. I do have, 3 flyers, but that still leaves me 11 creatures that don't fly. Well, Avenger can fly, let's say 4 flyers. That's 10 creatures that don't fly. It's still good enough to... Or is it though? I'm better off playing the second Tinkering instead of the Wings. First I have to actually decide if I want to play the 16 lands, because with the Stalwart I think I can. It is kind of a... Because of course this doesn't produce mana by itself, but I have the Combat Courier and all these 2-drops, except for the Machine or Matter of course. That, leave me a permanent I can tap for this ability. So it shouldn't be hard to make this guy produce mana in this deck. So I can count this like a half a land, and this can be counted as a... This together is like a 1 mana source for my expensive stuff, and then that's pretty much it. I'm just not sure if I want to play the Ironheart's Wings here in the main deck. Kind of like the Tinkering idea. I mean, why am I playing the card? That's a very expensive trick, but I feel like there's not that much. I guess I have 3 flyers. This can actually win by itself. These will pick up counters at 7 mana. Yeah, I have ways to push through. Of course, I just have these expensive creatures that can be a substantial threat the opponent might not be able to easily block. But yeah, I'm not sure how important this Aeronaut's Wings is in this deck now, after all. I'm gonna put the second Tinkering, and then I'm gonna cut the Tinkering when I need to put something else in the deck. Alright, and I play 16 lands, I think it's enough. And then there's an Evolving Wilds plus some 8-7 with 8 forests, because the Stalwart requires green, and that also allows me to add blue mana. Sure, that's the deck. Now might be a little bit weird to run 2 of these, but I have a fairly low curve. I can go 2-drop creature, 3-drop creature, or a Stern Lesson, and then my 4-drop can be, aiding my creature to not trade but actually win the combat. And then I have a bigger creature after that. Now this is of course bad against the opponents with instant speed interaction, and then I will just sideboard this out in those cases if I feel that's what I want to do. So yeah, 8 forests. Let's take something from the first page here. The Chase from Ixalan. I think it's Chase who is, on top of that. Is that a 3 or whatever? 8. And then... is there a Chase Island here from Ixalan? Yeah, there is Chase too. Okay, let's take it. Let's have a Chase theme deck here, at least when it comes to basic lands. Alright, so this is the main deck. I also have the Combat Courier, which helps me find some more lands. That's also like a slight reason to play only 16. And this is good one if I draw a 3rd land. I'm on the draw, so I have 3 draw steps to find the 3rd land. Well, unless the 3rd land happens to be... unless the land is getting drawn only on the 3rd draw step, and it's an Evolving Wilds. But even in that case, I can play my second 2-drop on turn 3. So I don't mind if I get a Evolving Wilds on turn 3. And no land before that. Well, there is the land already, so everything is fine. How am I gonna proceed here? I think I'll play the mechanic here. I don't mind trading it with something. That's just fine. I'm gonna win a... I'm gonna win a 1/1 token when I trade with this guy. Also, I wanna trade with this because it will otherwise be blocking a Wing Commando. Black Red deck might also be more interested in attacking, of course. But, well, if they attack, I'm gonna block. I don't care if they have a Whirling Strike or not. When this dies, I get the token regardless. Even the token can be used to block the Rock Hunter. Strong Bull, alright. So, I got an Evolving Wilds here, but I did draw a land earlier. Now, I am thinking that I should just leave this as a blocker, play my wing commando here now. Like so. I know I could have attacked into that thing, into Strong Bull with, you know, a Stern Lesson up, so this could have actually traded with the Strong Bull. But I prefer the wing commando here. It's possible it just trades with the Rock Hunter. It's also possible that, well, no, I don't have any cheap. I can't have two non-creature spells on the next turn at least. I have a 4 and 3 mana non-creatures here and a tapped land, so there's no way this is gonna be a +4/+4 from the triggers. I might draw, of course, a Giant Growth. But yeah, this is like a... I guess they can block, attack with a Strong Bull. Well, I take 2 in that case. As-Notch Harvester. Let's try to not lose that courier on that. So are they gonna... This is a 3/4 potentially. I would, you know, trade with the Harvester and the Strong Bull, losing both of my guys, getting a 1/1 token. Now, the problem is they might have also a Whirling Strike or a Disfigure. Is it worth it? The take flight will be great, so I can actually try to just trade down, maybe take over the game with my card draw. Problem is... What is the problem? Is there a problem? I can just start attacking with these guys. I can take 2, that's also possible. Maybe I'm gonna have it like this. If they were completely tapped out, or I knew that the only thing they could do is to sack the Harvester, then maybe I would you know, consider the double block in that case, if I knew that this was gonna die for sure, because this can be a problem later in the game. Now I'm gonna offer the trade with the Rock Hunter. I don't actually mind if the wing commando does block the Rock Hunter. And now my game plan probably is just to... Yeah, I can't really play this and draw a card for this guy because, you know, they can attack and just exile the combat courier. I think it's better here to use the Stern Lesson, block the Harvester, get a 1/1, and then hope to deal with the Strong Bull at some point, somehow. Because they're gonna attack with both. I'm fairly certain they will be attacking with the Harvester here. And I can't really block the Strong Bull here. Well, actually I can, I suppose. Because the Stern Lesson is gonna make that mechanic become a 3/2 now, of course. So I guess if they wanna save the Strong Bull by sacrificing the Harvester, then I don't get dealt any damage. Alright. Or if they have a Whirling Strike, then they have a Whirling Strike. I'm willing to trade the mechanic with that thing, right? I could take a very risky game plan here and take the damage here and then use a take flight on this on the next turn. It, you know, starts picking more counters even. But they have still 3 cards in their hand. I'd rather actually just do this. Should I thin my deck first? I think I'm gonna thin my deck first before I cast the Stern Lesson. So now they of course can still save the Strong Bull by sacrificing the Harvester, but at least I don't take any damage this turn. Well, I will take 1, because of course this will ping me. I can play double sprites now. I get my 1/1 here. And I'm still at healthy 17, because the take flight, I hope they kind of run out of their cards and then I can beat them with the take flight. That's the idea here. They cast nothing post combat. And they didn't play a land either, I'm concerned. I have 6 mana, but I can't play all my 2-drops because one of them 6 is a Power Stone. It does seem like they have no place though. Okay, okay. Well, I mean, I could have 7 mana on the next turn. So I believe I'm gonna play both sprites this turn. Hopefully they don't have something like a Gixis command. Hopefully they don't have a Gixis command. But now I have some power here myself, so they have to have some defenses up now. Okay, there is a 6th land. Hopefully... Or did they play a land on the previous turn? I might actually have been mistaken there. Maybe they played a 5th land on the previous turn. Is this turn 6? For them, I mean. Did I miss a land drop myself? Maybe I didn't. Alright, anyway. I'm 1 mana short of starting to pump these sprites. That's good. But I really don't want to play the Take Flight, especially with 2 open mana. I want to at least get a 1 card out of this thing. What are they doing there? They have 3 cards. And if they have hit all their land drops, you know, they could have any number of lands still in their hand. Okay, timeouts being used. So now I'm not going to double block if they attack. I just, you know, attack back. Rather, I can take 2 here now. No big deal. But they are actually losing their final timeout. They have to do something right now. Carrying Locust, Exiles Mechanic. I lose 1 life. That's acceptable. I don't have any way to pick stuff from my graveyard. Actually, they chose to exile the Wing Commander, but it doesn't matter really. Well, I have a good blocker on the Locust. That's good. Well, there is still land, so what am I gonna commit to using 7 mana this turn? Because they might have a response to my pump ability here. I think I'm going to commit to that. It doesn't seem like they have anything. Yeah, they don't have any priorities there. That's fine. So if they double block, I lose my sprite and 7 mana, but they lose both of their things. If they don't double block, well, I'm still gonna do this. At least I forced them to use their removal on my guys that don't have a Take Flight. They don't have that great attacks. I have a blocker for the 2/1 flyer, and I can just take the Strong Bull, no big deal. They can unearth the Harvester, but I'm at 16. That's a fairly healthy life total for sure. Okay, they can exile my Prowler. Now they know about the Take Flight. I don't care about the Prowler at all. They also was able to exile something from the graveyard. Yeah, they can choose a creature. That doesn't matter. None of this is gonna come back. The only creatures that matter in my graveyard are the unearthed ones. So if they played this on this turn and not on the previous turn, that kind of means that they drew this card, right? So I believe they have nothing to play on this turn. Or maybe I should pause this because when they are using so much time. But I have, of course, good attack with the sprites. Yeah, these sprites are so much better than your regular 2-drop because they are sometimes, you know, hard to block, and the 7 mana ability is just such a nice one. Okay, so they are willing to. Alright. Yeah, I could double block the Strong Bull. I wouldn't mind trading with the 1 sprite, but why would I do that? I mean, I can attack for quite a bunch of damage myself. I will, of course, block the Locust regardless. Now they won't attack with the Strong Bull. They won't attack with the Locust either. Now, with all that, they are now ready, and I have this funny little trick here. Okay. Again, it doesn't seem like they have anything, so I can do this attack. I could even attack with the 1/1 flyer at this point, actually. But I'm gonna keep it holding back. No reason to rush here. So let's see if this is just a trade. Yeah, that's great. That is great. So now they need to find something that deals with this stuff. And artifact creatures cannot block the sprite. That included. Okay, so didn't they realize that they can't block the sprite? Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, is it time to use the take flight on something like the combat courier? I think it is. They can't block any of this stuff now. And I can have a bounce spell. Wow, that was super convenient. Play the Stalwart and have the bounce spell up. Harvester, be my guest. They didn't even attack with it. So, this is actually lethal attack. Well, I'm gonna still bounce my own guy, I believe. With the Tinkering, I can still have a lethal attack. They have only one card in their hand, and I don't actually have to win on this turn. But the point is, if the automaton attacks, I have a lethal attack without using any tricks. So they kind of have to leave these to block. And then the question is, do I actually want to show them that I have Tonos' Tinkering? It's actually a card I don't want to show to them. Which means that I'm going to just attack with the flyers here. I don't think there's really... I mean, let's say even if they have a mass removal spell, that means I will have a combat courier in my graveyard. I can unearth and attack for the last point of damage. And of course now I got the hasty Avenger as well. So all I can just do it like this and not play anything else. That they not show anything else. They knew about this, so I could play that again. And yep. So black and red. They have a Power Stone Fracture, Dreams of Steel and Oil, stuff. 3-1. Yeah, I have a couple of ways to block my commanders, but this can also be prowessed into bigger creatures. I didn't show them any Tinkering, so that's also one reason to sideboard it out. If you show it in game 1, you can sideboard it out, so they have to be wary of it in games 2 and 3 when you have 4 mana up. But you can sideboard it out and have something else in its stead. Yeah, I think I like the cards in here. I might want to have some earlier blockers too, but I don't think it's that necessary. I think this is fine. Okay, so I did hit my land drops in the previous game. Now I don't even have to wish for any kind of lands. Everything is playable in this hand now. And I can have a nice 2-drop, 3-drop play now that I drew the Wing Commando here. Okay, they have a Rock Hunter again, but I have a blocker for it. I'm gonna play this guy. And again, they really can't beneficially attack with their 2-drop. Okay, that exiles it, so that was not good one. So the question is, should I play the Blanchwood Prowler here instead of the Commando? And the answer is yes. No, but I played the wrong guy. Whoops. I actually was thinking about the Prowler, because I'm happier to trade it with the Rock Hunter than this guy. Is this gonna mean that I'm actually playing Giant Growth here into open mana? They don't have black yet. I kind of want to play the Giant Growth just to be mana efficient. Yeah, they don't have anything. So let's save this thing. And then they can play their play for the turn, a Strong Bull. Well, like a little bit annoying. But I'll just play this guy, because I of course can't do anything with the sprite yet, but at 7 mana I can also bounce this. They are missing land drops, so bouncing their 3-drop now would be actually quite good play. Just okay, well, no blocks there, what the heck. Maybe they have another Strong Bull there. Or a Forge Chanter. I don't want to bounce that guy. Land kinda is and is not good. Well, it's good because the sprite can do something, but the problem is they get now black mana, they might just kill the sprite. So it's not the greatest situation now. I don't think I'm gonna pick a land with this. I'd rather have a 2-2 around here. Okay, the Avenger would have been nice. I can decline this. Avenger would have been nice, but the Stalwart was like maybe not so important now. I have the bounce spell back up now, so I can now double block the Strong Bull. Although they will trade with the Sprite in that case. Well, if they do attack with the Forge Changer, am I going to... No, the bounce spell isn't the greatest right now. Well, if they attack, I only take 3. I attack back for 6, or I threaten attacking back for 6. Of course, they can trigger prowess before dealing damage, but I mean, I can take that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm not willing to trade with the Sprite here necessarily. Although, I'm still a bit far from the 7 mana. Actually, because I have the Machine of Matter, and I'm not gonna pump this on the next turn, I'm gonna just do this. Let's trade with the Strong Bull before it can do stuff. And if they have a trick, of course I can use Machine of Matter in that case. But I think that's fine. I have this flyer, I can continue dealing damage with it. They have a Rager. I should keep 1 land in my hand. I have 2 Stern Lessons in my deck too, so I would have to hit my land drops with the Argot and Sprite. Combat Courier. Yep. That's fine. I'm not gonna draw the card on this turn. But I believe I'm gonna do that on this turn, because I think the card is more important than the 1/1 presence on the battlefield right now. I can block and draw. And I'm not trading with the Prowler here. Okay, they can attack with the Forge Chander. I'm not going to block that. Now it won't be blocking the Prowler at least. Lodestone Golem. Okay. Mishra. Permanents you control have ward. Sack a permanent. I don't like that. I could bounce it and sack a land. Just to attack for a bit of damage here. Then play the Lodestone Golem. I don't think it's necessary worth it though. I really don't want to sack any lands. Ooh, Tonus is tinkering. Well, don't think it matters now. At the current moment. Now this thing makes my Machine of Matter cost 1 more, but it's also the fact it's an artifact creature makes it cost 1 less, so I can actually still cast the Machine of Matter even with the Lodestone Golem on the battlefield. So sacrifice a permanent. Each artifact card in the graveyard has unearth 1 black red, total of 3 mana, but they currently don't have any artifacts there. Hopefully there won't be like Portal to Phyrexia or anything like that they can put there via some kind of a discard mechanism. But now I have a 5/3. I'm totally willing to, of course, block the Mishra with the Lodestone Golem. And I can block all the other stuff too. If they try to kill it, I can bounce it. I think it's not a big deal. Okay, so they trigger prowess there. So choose 2. X damage to target creature. The target creature gets plus X plus O and gains haste. Okay. So this takes 4 damage now. Do I want that to happen? If I bounce my own Lodestone Golem, I'm taking a lot of damage. I would have to jump here. If I want to bounce this guy, this still takes 4. There's nothing preventing that. and I will have to pay 2 life for the ward. I mean for the ward 2 life and also sack a permanent, which I don't really like. So that's gonna be 6, 10, that's 12 damage. I can block the 2-2 or I can block jump block 6 damage and take still, you know, go down to 8. Okay, I'm actually doing this. Don't like it. Don't like it at all, but I'm doing this. And yeah, taking 10 is such a harsh one, especially because this can be unearthed. I believe I'm gonna jump. This is gonna sacrifice to prevent me getting 6 damage dealt to me. Okay, weak stone's subjugation is... Yeah, I can sack a land for that. I can lock down the Mishra. I should do it pre-combat because of the prowess trigger. Then I play the Bloodstone Golem. So I'm gonna sack a... I'm going to sack a forest. Yep. Decline this and then just play this guy and attack for 3 in the air. Now it really depends on what are the remaining cards they have available, because the Lodestone Golem actually holds the fort now. But if they have more removal, well then I can kiss this game pretty much goodbye. If they have a non-creatures removality, I will take at least 4 damage here. Now I still have the option, if that's the only thing they do, I can attack for 2 next turn, then I can untap this, and with the prowess and the counters it would be a 5-5 blocker to one of these guys. Yeah, I'm not taking that amount of damage for fun. Okay, they actually just wanted that to put that in their graveyard. Maybe they have like a disfigure here or something. A gruesome realization. That works. But that also took most of their mana. Do they have a play for this turn? Land drop and 1 card I don't know about. They have the Unearth, which they can use now, you know, thanks to Mishra. It's a 3 mana Unearth if they use red as well. And why wouldn't they? They have enough mountains. Another Wing Commando. They're gonna unearth and I'm gonna take some damage, but it's gonna actually... I'm also getting closer to winning in the air. Do I even have that option on the next turn? This also makes me lose my life point. Yeah, I have a lethal attack in the air on the next turn. I can even, you know, unearth these for 1 additional point. But these will be 3/3 tank to prowess, and then +2/+2 is exactly 8 damage total, even if they don't unearth. Now they didn't. They chose to not unearth. That means they have something that costs at least 5. Overwhelming Remorse, perhaps. Unleash Shell. Okay, so that's not a lethal attack for me now. But what I can do is... I actually have to use the Tinkering defensively now, because it's too risky, because they will unearth this guy. And then this only needs one prowess trigger to deal a total of 4. I could use the Combat Courier and draw a card, but I don't have... It costs 3 mana. I would need 7 to do also this Tinkering here. So all this means that I'm gonna just attack for 2 in the air and try to eat the Forge Chanter. They are gonna unearth maybe. So Unleash Shell. Mistress Command. There is some removal. Obliterating Bolt too. Yeah, there's actually a bunch of removal there. Okay, now they do the Unearth. They draw a card. Go down to 5. I actually need only 1 prowess trigger to win with the 4/4 commander. This will be a permanent 4/4. Oh, but I have a Combat Courier for 1 damage. Well, if they play a blocker, that won't matter. Now... I have to do this. I mean, I guess I don't have to. I mean... If they don't have the prowess for this thing, I'm at 1. I don't die. Then this with prowess will be lethal. Is that worth it? They will have to exile this, so the thing is, of course, that if I kill this Forge Standard, they don't even have an attack yet. But if they play blocker, that means I can only attack for 4 in the air, and this won't be going through. This is a really tough one. I could take actually 3 here. And hope they don't have any way to deal the 1 here. Because I have a lethal attack in the air. I just don't like it. I think it's a little bit too risky. I'm gonna do it like this. Go to 2 and hope that I still have a lethal attack if I find a non-creature, and I can even draw a card with this thing. So I have 2 draws to find a non-creature. Unless they have a, flying blocker. They could have the 2/1 that exiles a creature from a graveyard. That would have just killed me if I didn't do this thing. Because that makes me lose 1 life. If they do have that thing though, they can eat the... Okay, so now I would have won if I didn't do that trick. If this was their play regardless. Now I will see. I can do this and draw a card and still have mana for the sprite. Cheap non-creature, thank you. That's it. I have a bunch of non-creatures, so this wasn't really like super lucky. And I could have still made a different kind of play. Go to 1 and they play the cohort, and my Tornus' Tinkering will just win without any further help. But I guess I played around something there. Maybe mostly I played around them having like a flying blocker or something. So I'd rather stay at 2 life and eat the Forge Chanter. Maybe something like that. But main point is I won the match. And I didn't get my first pick at all. On the play. Hand is good enough. The Stern Lesson allows me to cast a golem regardless, and I'm on the play, and I even have the option to bounce their 2-drop if I really want to. But my lack of plays earlier in the game is not such a big deal when I am on the play here. They see what I'm drawing here, and it is a forest. Do I want to bounce whatever they're gonna play here? Well, it really depends on what it is. Warblow, I'm not gonna bounce that. Okay. It will of course trade with the Lodestone Golem, but bouncing it doesn't really prevent that from happening. They can just replay it. Maybe even as a 5/6 at some point. Okay. Well, why would I do that? Well, I'm gonna discard a land anyway, but I mean, they're gonna exile a card from my graveyard, so I should have let this ability resolve first. Not that the island in my graveyard is gonna matter at all, it isn't, so it's kind of fine. And plus they can exile the Stern Lesson too, but it doesn't matter either. But now, what to do here? If I just play the Lodestone Golem, that will mean that they won't attack with the Warblow, and I don't really want to attack with it either. I mean, with my Golem into the Warblow. So I'm not a fan of that stuff. I'm actually willing to trade, of course, the Warblow with the Honor Guard here. So maybe I'll just play the Honor Guard and play the Mask of the Jade Crafter. Leave mana up for the Giant Growth if they try to like burn the... I think I would save it just for tempo reasons. Well, it depends on stuff, I don't know. We'll see. Evangel. Okay, so they're blue-black and they have also red for something. They're gonna discard a swamp. Sure. Okay, they won't be trading. Or maybe they are blocking with the Warblow. Who knows? Well, not to test the mask, I think they're gonna save the Warblow for the big token. They actually use the Weld on the Measures Bubble. They want to draw lands rather than bring back something that makes more sense. Okay, that's an interesting development for sure. Now they can cantrip. They can have this as a menace creature. If they cantrip the bubble so that they activate it on my turn, then they will draw the card on their turn, and they will have drawn 2 for this thing. So there's that. So I would be taking some number of damage. I could also just play the Take Flight on the Honor Guard. And when they try to block with the Locust, I can save it with the Giant Growth, for instance. That's a possibility, for sure. I'm not going to attack with the Honor Guard into the 1-1 for sure. Yeah, I still think I like this most. Let's do this. Because that's the most mana efficient thing to do now. I can still double block the Evangel of Synthesis now with the Honor Guard here. And the 6/6 token. So I can do that. And I don't think they're gonna attack with the 1/1s. And then I can make the 6/6 token get a take flight. Oh, that's a 4th color without any fixing, I'm seeing. So these are just basic lands. I wonder how their mana base looks like. So they're playing like swamps, islands, mountains, and plains in a deck that has also an Evangel of Synthesis. I mean, it's totally allowed to do that. And they could have like 4 Evolving Bulge in the deck, of course. But yeah, that is a lot of different basic lands. They have a lot of cards in their hand. At least they are not attacking with the Synthesis, but they are you know, working my life total with the Locust, and it's okay. They have. By the way, my deck has the Crown too, where it is. Interestingly, they choose to do that post combat. Why would they give that guide? Okay, they know about the assembler. Okay, I'm slightly now not in such a great shape, thanks to them having the crown, so I need to actually have a risky play now. Which means take flight on the token. Do I want to leave mana up for the Giant Growth or the Machine over Matter? Because it's only gonna be one of those. Only one of those. Of course I can draw the missing land, but I would have to be lucky to draw the correct one. Assuming they don't have like their own Machine over Matter, that would be horrible, but I have to take the risk, I believe. Otherwise I'm taking too much damage in the air. I need to start the race myself. I think the bounce is more important, so I do as the auto tapper suggests. So they have a response to that. I mean, it's just a concede if they can actually interfere with this attack now. Maybe I was supposed to give the Honor Guard actually the because it has ward 2. Well, we'll see. Maybe the whatever they're holding is just like a curate or something. Yeah, they let me attack, so they are not gonna have anything. Hey, there's the Tinkering. Let's see if I can get them with it. So now they go to... I have a 3-turn clock now. But of course they will be able to attack for a bunch. But I have the Machine of Matter, which is 1 mana, as long as I have this golem here. So let's see if they have... There's also a non-land permanent, so if they like lock down this take flight... sorry, the golem, I can actually bounce the take flight and put it on the Honor Guard. So that allows them to do the thing with the Synthesis. Okay. So they are dealing now if they attack. Well, if they attack with the War Blow, I might have to still block it. I know I could actually bounce the crown. It's not the worst idea. I can't block this because it's a menace creature right now. Bouncing the crown, is that making any sense? Because it's not like... I mean, the really greedy play would be to bounce this and attack with... but I don't need to attack for 10. Attacking with this 7 power flyer is gonna be enough to win in 2 turns. So I just have to be defensive here. Well, actually, I'm considering bouncing the crown. They can precast the crown, but I think they might want to... Well, it's gonna still, you know, take some of their mana. Maybe I don't care about them drawing a card. That's also a possibility. I'm gonna block this guy regardless whether I bounce the crown or not. They didn't try to save it. Why would they? They're gonna draw a card if it dies. I mean, they could have like a Whirling Strike. That would save it. Taking 5. Should I allow them to? I'm gonna bounce the crown. Maybe it's foolish, maybe it's not. I don't know. Because I feel like I'm a little bit short on mana here anyway, so maybe it's better to use now the untapped island, denying them the card draw, and then at least forcing them to use... That's at least 3 mana they have to use if they want to play and equip the crown again. Okay, they didn't. Wow, so they didn't play anything, including not the crown here. So they have something now here for sure. They are not gonna allow. No, they still allow me to attack here. I wonder what's it gonna be. Do they hold a counter spell? That's a possibility. So can I double spell to play around the counter? Don't think so. I can play the combat courier here. Then I can play the lodestone golem. Let's start with this thing. And then I assume they're gonna counter the lodestone golem. And that allows me to still have mana up for the giant growth. Now if they don't counter it, then I don't have mana for the giant growth because the lodestone golem makes it cheap, more expensive. But I believe the only reason they don't play the crown here is that they actually have a means to, you know, do something with the mana on my turn. I guess it could be a stern lesson too. It could be a stern lesson. Liberator. Well, yeah, it can also be that flash rare, which is hard to play around because it's a, you know, a rare. Okay, so they can attack for a bunch of in the air, but they won't be having a lethal attack without, unless they have a card that I haven't seen that will give them more damage. But I can take now 5 damage if they play and equip the crown. But of course this 7/6 is going to beat them. So they need a blocker for that too if they can't remove it. There's the crown. Oh, I forgot. Of course it's gonna pick up a counter, so they can attack for 6 in the air. They equip the crown for 1 black, so they have 3 mana left. Did they play a land this turn? I think, yeah, this entered the battlefield. So they have 3 mana left on this turn. After all this is said and done. They don't attack with anything there. Well, that might mean my giant growth or tinkering is gonna do some nice work here. Let's take a green here. Let's go to combat. I can't cast both of them because of the golem, but I think I'm only interested in casting one of them. Let's say they block the golem with the 2/3 and the 1/1. I'm happy about that trade. I do want to save my big flyer, of course. Okay, that's just jump blocks. Let's see what happens now. They're gonna draw a card with the crown, of course. They didn't want to double block to lose the Battletopter. Now they might have a disfigure, so I should play around a disfigure. And now that I drew a land, I think I can. So I'm going to play, of course, the assembler one, which leaves me mana up for the giant growth here still. And I'm not playing the sprite. I want to keep a giant growth mana up. The sprite can still be blocked by the evangel, so it's not that relevant. And they have a disfigure, and I have my giant growth here to save it. So that's all good. Now they will have priority stops at every point as long as they have the flask in there, so I can't anymore deduce if they are, you know, having an actual instant speed effect or not. I still have the tinkering here, so as long as they don't just like lock down this guy, it's a big threat. The take flight is such a good card. I have also been a big ground guys here, so it's not that easy for them, even though they have the crown. It's not that easy. This is gonna be a lethal in one attack. They have to deal with it. If they, I mean, at least by blocking, if nothing else. But yeah, this crown means that they will be drawing cards a lot. But if they really are lacking the way to deal with this, they can't even attack with the Liberator, and I start growing this, you know, pretty decent ground force here. I can even unearth this for 3. Okay, well that's a lot of blockers for them. Also 1 additional counter for that thing. But they still have no offensive capability here. Also these artifact creatures cannot block the sprite. So this Evangel of course will still block it, but I mean, if they have to jump block with the Liberator, I'm gonna like it quite a bit. But they are not going to equip the Liberator. So they are not even... Okay, another flyer is really good. I'm definitely not attacking into this ground guy. So let's just let's take flight to do its thing. How many cards have I drawn? So many cards. So now they just have to use the Liberator. Is that a jump? No way to save it. Okay, that's great. So now I can have the Wing Commando here, and I won't have the mana up for the Tinkering thanks to the Lodestone Golem, so I can just play this and this. And now it's very hard for them to... There's no other assembly workers, by the way, because this can give it a counter to any assembly worker, but there's no... very hard for them to keep any kind of an offense here. A Locust. Alright, you can play a Locust there. They can get my Mask of the Jade Crafter. There's nothing I can do about that. But I guess I have a large enough ground force to not really worry about it. I can sink my mana on the Sprite. But this is another flyer for them actually, that's funny. They get to still block the... They still get to block them. My flyer, but I mean, this is much better than them having an actual removal spell. If they just have jump blockers, that's fine. They do draw a card thanks to the crown. But let's now attack with the ground force too, I believe, because I do have oh, I should play the mechanic first because I'm gonna draw a card. I still have mana for the Tinkering. So... Wow, they don't even want to see what happens there. I mean, they have to jump block this guy. I was thinking which are my exact ground attacks. The Assembler for sure. It has 5 toughness and it can threaten to be a 6-7. So, I mean, 6 toughness and it could be 7 toughness. Even if I cast this because I can activate it with the Power Stone. Not gonna attack with the Sprite necessarily. Although, now that the Locust is locked into blocking these, they can only block with the Synthesis here and I can use the Tinkering on the Sprite. Then this trades with the Cohort. This gets jumped with the 1-1 this time. Yeah, I mean, of course. And this deals 3 to them when it gets the Prowess Trigger. That was pretty tough situation for the opponent. Now there's a bunch of artifacts I would want to get rid of, but yeah, I don't really pick the artifact removal that high. Even I had a Haywire Might was there, which I would use against the crown, but I picked something else over it. Oh well. There is a Firebomb. I don't think I'm gonna play that expensive stuff. Is the Honor Guard quite bad? You know, against the 1-1s, they have the Emergency Weld, they have you know, the Cohort. I don't like the Tamakul Honor Guard here. Is there something else I should consider running over it? Like what exactly? I'm not sure if I like my wings in this matchup either. Maybe it should be something like a Clear Cutter. Should it be? Coilless Rock? I'm not gonna play a Coilless Rock. I mean, they have a Carrion Locust. They have actually 2 of them. Well, 2 Carrion Locust is a reason enough to run a Coilless Rock. Fine, let's do it. Because I can surprise them. Have a flash blocker on their 2 Power Flyer. Yeah, let's try it. It also does make me a Power Stone. Okay, good hands. Good hands for sure. Am I supposed to get a island or forest? Well, let's first see if I draw one of those. No. Giant Growth. I think I'm like slightly more likely to want to play a green spell and a Giant Growth on the same turn. So maybe I'll get a forest. So next turn, probably a Stern Lesson just to help me hit my land drops. But if I draw a 4th land, maybe then I can just take the Sprite Also what they played is gonna affect. So they still need the planes if they... Well, they do have white mana, of course, here. Okay, do they just deal with that? Okay, they have a prison sentence there. Interesting. Interesting. Sure. I can bounce my sprite at some point if I want to. They scry both to top. And because of they have the flask there. Well, I'm gonna play this for sure. They have the flask, which means that they don't have any place, but they have priorities because they don't shift enter. And that they shouldn't shift enter because I could maybe kill this with some kind of beneficial effect. They might want it to whiff. Okay, I didn't have a land there, so that means I am going to attack here, and before damage I'm going to play the Stern Lesson to also get the prowess trigger here. They might have a disfigure, but so be it. Okay, they have Ursa's command taking a token and a card. That's very good, of course, because that token will grow large, but it's also something I can bounce. Alright, so I'm gonna discard a card, but all of them are so good. I need the bounce for the token, I need the land drop. I guess the Mask of the Jadecrafter could be discarded. I wanna have the 1 mana trick, the other cheap creature here, the Assembler. I'm gonna discard the Jadecrafter. I don't think I have mana for that. I know they have. I saw at least 2 ways for them to exile stuff from the graveyard, but if they exile this, that's fine. Trench Stalker. That can be really annoying with all the cantrips I've seen. I might have to just bounce that instead of the construct. Well, this is actually very convenient because now that I have another land, I can actually do like this. That leaves me, now that this is an artifact creature, that leaves me up a Machine of Matter now with the 1 island. So bouncing their 5-drop is actually gonna be a pretty good tempo move. Evangel there. Okay, I'll let them do all that. And now this will be a Death Touch lifelinker, but I will be bouncing it. Hopefully they don't have a way to like counter my bounce. Ursa's rebuff can be cast because this can make all of their lands into islands, so the double blue won't be a big thing. Pass, no blocks. No pump spells. Okay, and they can't even cast it on this turn, even if they have a land drop. Locust deals with the Jadecrafter, but that's fine. That is totally fine. Because now I'm actually attacking for a punch here. And I'm going to, of course, play this now to get the prowess trigger. And I can even equip it. And even if I equip it, I have mana for both the Sprite and the Giant Growth. So that's really good. I don't have the mana for the counteracting ability in that case, but it doesn't matter. I'm pressuring them a lot here now. Yeah, bouncing the 5-drop is a really big deal here. So much tempo loss for them, and especially because I have this assembler now. So, this is currently 9 damage. I can make it into 10, and then I can make it into 14. It's actually 1 mana short of actual lethal here. If I activate this, the Giant Crowd is +4/+4 thanks to prowess. I believe... Oh, I'm just thinking if I should, activate this now or not. I mean, it is gonna deal an additional point of damage. I don't care about it being unable to block. The thing is that it prevents me from using the Giant Growth defensively. But I guess I have so many threats that it doesn't even matter, so I'm going to go for it. Let's deal the extra damage right away and play the Sprite. So if they, let's say if they kill the Wing Commando, I will first of all just draw a card. And they still have a blocker for it, so it's not that big deal. I think they might be interested in killing the Assembler if they can. Of course, if the kill spell is an exile spell, Overwhelming Remorse, that means I won't be drawing any cards. But it's not like the Giant Growth is gonna help against that either. So now I have 2 lethal attackers they don't know it, but of course the prowess commander is easy to trigger. But I have only one card in my hand, so maybe they have to hope I don't draw anything. Well, the locust would block anyway, because it will trade with the commando if I don't have a prowess trigger. And if I do have it, they would lose it if they don't jump block. It doesn't seem like they're gonna be able to play the Trench Stalker. They have a Death Toucher, which is of course very good against the Assembler. It cannot block the Sprite though. Planch, Wood Armor. Oh, I mean Prowler. So if I attack with everything, they can block the Sprite. They have to block with the Locust on the commando. The Synthesis can block the Sprite, but I have a 7 mana here. The 3/3 cannot block the Sprite. There's no point letting the Warplope trade with the Assembler this turn though. I'd rather make the trade once I have the Crown here. I'm not sure about... yeah, well, I guess I'm gonna use a Giant Growth on the Sprite now. That will also trigger the prowess, so I don't lose the commander yet. Yeah, let's use the prowess here. Let's see if they have an actual trick here. Nope. At least not yet. Bounce on that thing. Alright, well, bounces. I mean, they could have even bounced the Sprite here, but they just chose to let their flyer be there. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna play this and then the Prowler. Is there now a counter spell? Nope. I don't think I'm gonna need any lands here. I'd rather have a 2/2. You never know if it matters. And I can use the 1 mana to give a counter. Counter to the Assembler, not that it matters too much, because of course the Death Toucher can always trade with it. If they do play the Stalker, then that ends my Sprite attacks for now. Yep, but I can attack in the air. Trade with the Wing Commando. I mean, trade with the Locust and get a card out of the deal. It's my turn now with the Crown. They still have 3 cards in their hand, of course, because they have been a little bit stuck in at 5 lands. I have a Stern Lesson, 1 Stern Lesson in the deck, so let's see if I do this. I don't need to put any more counters on this guy, so I'm actually gonna play the land just so that I can equip the Lodestone Golem, perhaps. Or the Assembler. The Golem is gonna... well, I don't care. The Golem can trade with the 3/3 there. Give me a card by doing so. Okay, main phase Liberator means they have a spell they wanna cast now. They wanna have the counter on this guy. That's 2 cards only. This cares about the spell's mana value. No, it doesn't. It's the amount of mana spent, so my Lodestone Golem actually helps them for that. Okay, they get a cantrip back, 1/1 back. Okay. Still want... the only thing that can currently block the Sprite is in fact the Trench Stalker. I'm gonna put some counters on this thing, so next turn it's gonna be able to push through this guy. They can actually attack with dice. They will be able to counter it. They can gain 4 life. But I suppose I will just block it with the assembler then. But yeah, let's draw a card by attacking with the golem. I don't care. It can trade with the whatever. I mean, now this is already a 5-5. They might not even want to block with it. They only jump. They don't want to give me a card. Also understandable. So I have now 8 mana. So if I now play the Stalwart, I can't put the counters on this thing. I was kind of counting on losing the golem here, so that this is a 1 mana spell. Well, I mean, then I don't play the Stalwart. Simple as that. I will block the Strength Stalker with the assembler. Maybe, I mean, in that case I would have preferred to move the Transmogrant Crown, but I don't really like them getting the life multiple times with this thing. So I think it's worth it. Also, the Trench Stalker is currently the only thing that can block the sprite, so if they attack with it, I wanna get rid of it anyway. Yeah, they go to 9. Okay, that's gonna kill one of my things. They have to sacrifice an actual thing. I mean, anything they sacrifice is gonna be somewhat relevant, even the 1/1 Death Toucher. But they of course get rid of either of my crown or... By the way, this is green. They have all the 5 colors because I've seen planes in their deck too. So they get rid of the crown. That's understandable. That is understandable. But if they now attack with the Stalker, they gain life, but then they lose the ability to block the sprite. I mean, the spider can block it, but it's only a jump block. Yep. And it's not like the assembler does much here, because they have the Warplow to block it. So I'm very happy about this trade. I take only 3 in the air. And again, Aggro and sprites showing their actual usefulness. Our opponent is down to 1 card in hand. But yeah, this is a green spell, and I have seen these basic lands, and I have also seen a planes from their deck. Now, how to do it? They can gain a bunch of life from the spider here. It's fine. They can also block it with the Warplow here. Doesn't matter either. Just attack here and pump the sprite here, why not? Hope that they don't have an answer for it. That was badly tapped mana, because I still have a Stern Lesson. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to the auto tapper, because now that I lose my golem, this is only 1 mana spell. If I left the forest up, I didn't have to play the forest from my hand, because I can draw a Stern Lesson, which is only 1 card in my deck, but I can still draw it, and it's a bit awkward. It's a bit awkward then. So, what do you got? Oh, I have a hasty 4/4, but it's not good enough. Can I give it Death Touch though? The haste is not useful, because if I give it this haste, it's a 4/4, and then they can like double block or something. I'd rather have this as a 4/4 flight on the next turn. Then again, if they don't have... They have to jump block with this, but then they will gain 4 life. Unless they choose to leave it in the graveyard if they have like an emergency world number 2. Okay, well actually, if they have an expensive card in their hand and they can make this into a 4/5, it's way too risky. But no, it's not, because this can be a Death Toucher too. Okay, let's see what happens. Now they have priority stops because of the Elsewhere Flask, so I don't know if they have a playable spell in their hand or not. But let's, you know, have a little bit of a risky play here, because this is of course... Yeah, because what this means that they are locked into blocking the sprite with the spider. They just die otherwise. And now, if they actually don't have anything in their hand they can use right now, this will be a 4/4 haster, and it is lethal, so they would have to jump block with the Liberator. Now if they have a spell that makes this into a 4/5, I can activate this to make it into a 3/3 Death Toucher, which is still gonna trade with the Liberator. And of course, their 4 life here is a triggered ability after this has died, so it's not same as lifelink. So this life gained wouldn't save them from lethal damage in combat. This life gain only applies after combat damage has been dealt, and no one has lost to that. But yeah, I'll give an Avenger. But yeah, I must just point out again, Algorithm Sprite, how good these are. This is just a 2-mana 2/2, and how impactful it can be late game. Such a nice 2-drop. One of the better 2-drop combos we have seen in a while. Okay, final match. A chance for yet another trophy, but first I need to draw well. I think this would be a keep if one of the forests was an island. I would just risk to draw to get a turn 3 wing commander, but I'm not wanna risking it now. I'm gonna just mulligan, and this is fine. One of the stern lessons can go. I have this cheap removal for their attacks. Okay, well, I mean, Bonesaw. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna stop this kind of nonsense right away. I'm not gonna take any more damage out of this guy. Bonesaw is really kind of a low impact card, but can maybe work in very cheap prowess focused decks. But I have actually decent stuff going on. I can even make a 3/3 on the next turn, but most likely stern lesson. Okay, well, especially when the opponent isn't doing anything. Yeah, this is easy now, because the stern lesson gives me a power stone. I have a 5/5 on the next turn. Scrapwork Rager was their play now, so there was no 2 or 3 drop. That actually makes me a lot happier now about this. I mean, I'm not in any kind of trouble here. Honor Guard. I mean, I could lose one of the Tinkerings actually. Honor Guard is good with the Take Flight. Let's discard the Tinkering. Make a 5/5 now. So they could have removal for it, but you know, if they don't really have an attack, and I have a 5/5. They could have the red deal 5. Oh, well, they can also have that. That's a shame, but this was gonna remove something anyway. So other option on the previous turn was to double spell an Honor Guard and a Sprite. But oh well. Okay. I think I'm gonna do that first before this, because first of all, this just trades with the Rager, and this would make these guys into 3-mana spells, which I don't really want. So they are dealing 3 to me. Yeah, the Might Stun and Weak Stone. That was good. That's a flyer. I'm thinking about the race situation. Of course, they are gonna attack here. They don't have black mana now, so I'm actually just blocking here. Try to... Whirling Strike could be a thing, of course. Oh, that's it. Well, I'm a... Wow, okay. So, when they skipped their turn 2 and 3 plays, I was very happy, but... Now that they had that turn, I'm in trouble here for sure. I don't even have good blocks now. I think I just have to trade with the Thopter. I could also make a 2/2 to block the Scrapwork Rager actually. That's what I'm gonna do here. That uses my mana efficiently, because the fact it blocks with the Rager, it's good enough to me. I'm sure they have a swamp at some point there, but I have to just stem the bleeding. Stabilize, and then you know, I can win with the Take Flight if I'm given the opportunity to do so. Okay, so now I can play one spell exactly, and it's gonna be the Wing Commando trading with that Thopter, because they're gonna be able to unearth that. I'm gonna take damage from the unearthed Thopter, so I don't wanna go any lower than 8 here on this turn. wings. Okay, they have multiple equipment. And I have a Lordstone Golem and a Combat Courier. So they can deal 4 to me if they unearth the top tier and equip both equipment. They can also have a Strong Bull, which is basically gonna win the game now for them. Well, it was time for them to find something good. Oh, that actually helps me. Yeah, I can bounce it. There is a problem for sure here. And it's that they can still do the unearth. Because what they can do on this turn, they can even sack like 3 of the artifacts to make me go to 5. Well, what I'm gonna do no matter what, I'm not gonna play the take flight right now. I'm going to attack with the golem here. Let's see if they try to, you know, make this into a 6 toughness creature and then to kill this, but I don't think they were ever gonna do that. Now, what am I gonna do here though? I guess I hope that they will pre-combat bounce the... I hope they're gonna pre-combat unearth the Thopter, and then in response to that I will bounce the Strong Bull to their hand. Does that even help me? Because they can still play it back. I'm gonna take... Yeah, I don't think there's any way I can beat them. I will try something. Maybe they play in a way that allows me to still win. So now I'm going to, you know, bounce this guy. Maybe it makes no sense to bounce it right away. Because they can just recast it, but they choose to do that right now, which I'm happy, I guess, about. Okay, they choose to do that. So is that gonna be lethal now? They can sack now. Yeah, if they equip both of equipment, that's gonna cost 3. Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna lose on the next turn because I'm gonna go to 2, and then next turn they can play the Strong Bull, and they will have the. Yeah, I don't think I have a life gain or anything. I might just have to do this actually now, just to draw something out. Because yeah, problem is I'm gonna lose the Strong Bull. Like I said when they played it, it's gonna deal enough damage. I'm already at. Oh yeah, once they untap, I die because they have 2 artifacts. All I can try to do is. No, it's nothing. There's no life gain in my deck. I mean, I guess I can yeah do this. This is what I can do, but it's not gonna. I have no life gain here. Yeah, so I'm just dying when they untap. They can sack these 2. I don't want to show them any more cards. Yeah, so it seemed. Yeah, I guess the turn when first when they had the Mightstone and Weakstone on my big token, that was a huge turn. I guess if I did go for the double 2-drops, that would have been a lot different. And then the next turn was when they had a Whirling Strike and an Excavation Explosion to, you know, deal with my board, not lose their board. And that was when I was already at a very low life total. And then they had a blank turn when they dropped just on a mountain, but then they drew the Strong Bull, which is a winner. So is there any kind of a method for me to... Well, there's no life gain for me. I don't think anything here is particularly bad either. The Bounce Bell is good against the trick they have. Tinkering thing can be, I don't know, somehow good. Yeah, I don't just think that my deck really has anything great against them, so I'm gonna ship the same deck and hope that... Well, I don't know what to hope. Hope that I have a good draw and they don't have an excellent draw. At least I can keep this. Hopefully I will get my turn 3 play on turn 3. Did they mulligan to 5? I'm pretty sure that was like 2 mulligans there. Yeah, they kept the 5-lander. Okay, good. Well, I mean, good and good. It's never great to mulligan, but they still get to start with the Swift Spear, actually. But the actual good thing is that I get to block it now. Unless they can attack. I'm going to play into a Whirling Strike. Okay, it's just a bone, so I don't care about that. They didn't equip, so they have a play here now. At least that's a decent 2-lander. Well, I can't attack into that, wow. It's actually funny how this Swift Spear can deal some damage when the browse triggers, but I guess when they run out of browse triggers, it's not so great for them anymore. Okay, let's see what they have. I mean, I'm just gonna make them use their spells. I trade it with the Whirling Strike, it's fine. And now I will be attacking here. Hopefully they don't have another Whirling Strike, I guess. I have a pretty decent guy here. A second Whirling Strike is needed. Wow, they just conceded, so... I mean, I know for a fact their deck has Excavation Explosion. I mean, they don't attack now because they have like maybe just another mountain in their hand. I attack for 2, maybe for 5. But it's risky attacking with the golem now because they have a very potentially, you know, a lot of damage back. But they could just top deck an Excavation Explosion, deal with the golem, and again have a superior board. That was a little bit of an early concession there. I'm actually thinking about playing the Honor Guard, especially on the draw here now. It can block the Swift Spear. It's not good against the Whirling Strike, but what can you do? Maybe one of the Tinkerings. I think the Algibian Avenger might be the card I don't need against that deck, yeah. It can be a Vigilant guy, but it's such a late drop. I'd rather have my cheaper things here. That's fine. So this will be the last game in the event unless it somehow ends in a draw. I don't think in this limited format can there be a draw in game. Both would have to lose at the same time. Usually by effects that deal damage to each player at the same time. They are mulligan again. I'm gonna keep it because I have 2 playables. I do hope to find my blue source at some point, but I am on the draw against the player who mulliganed again. Maybe they always mulligan into the Swift Spear. We will see now. Not this time. Okay, that was lucky. Immediately getting the island means I can play an actual game of Magic here. Let's see if the opponent can do. That's a good one. But this is an enchant artifact or creature, so I can enchant it when it's tapped, even when it's not a creature. Honor Guard? Yeah, they might have a strong bull. I'd rather have a 3-1 than a 2-2 because I can't do anything with the strong bull here. Soul Guide Lantern. Alright, so once they are gonna animate this guy. Not on this turn though. I'm gonna lock it down permanently for 1 mana. Yeah, it's something you could forget that this is an enchant artifact or creature. Very easy attack, and then I have a Wind Commando. Yeah, drawing those 2 lands there right away, that was huge. Firebomb. Okay, that's gonna take some time to activate. That's a good one. That's a good one for sure, but I can keep coming here. Yep. They have a 5/5 flyer now, but I can lock it down. That is great. But I won't be locking it down until it's tapped, otherwise they can keep it permanently as a blocker for 2 mana. Strong Bull. Okay, they have a mana to activate Strong Bull, but I have a Tinkering, so that's gonna be a blowout, right? I have a Stern Lesson, but I believe I want to still just play my land. It's not like I'm gonna play my Stern Lesson this time. But yeah, they can make the Strong Bull into a 3/4, but then I can punish them. No, it's not actually that much punishment because my this will be only 3. Yeah, they can sack the Firebomb. It's not a good idea after all. So I actually wasn't supposed to play the land now. I'm gonna do this just to trigger the commando and play the sprite. Yeah, because this becomes a 5/3. Sadly, it's not enough to win a 3/4 in combat. Yeah, they can just use this mana and sack the firebomb for this activation, so not a good idea, not a good idea at all. I know I could lock it down with 4 mana, but I really need to save this weak stone thing on the statue. So let's just do this, and I will discard something. Probably some of the cards I draw now will be discarded. Yeah. The bounce spell is really good, but I don't think I need to... I guess the sprite isn't doing that much here, but I can bounce other stuff too. This is all very interesting now. There are so many lines here I can take. I guess I don't... I wanna see if I'm gonna bounce either. I mean, it's possible I want to, after all, bounce the statue. So let's just do this now. Ideally they just attack with the statue and I can finally lock it down and then I can bounce this guy or something. Wellspring, okay, that's a good one with the strong bull for sure. Now I'm gonna take a lot of damage here. They can of course sacrifice the statue for the strong bull once it is locked down, but I'm also dealing a bunch of damage here and I have the Tornas's Tinkering. Even more flyers, so let's just so now they have, okay, they have tapped the Power Stone, so they have only 1 mana for the strong bull again, so I can attack with the sprite. Yes, but I'm gonna do this. They're gonna sack the Wellspring. Well, I mean, I'm gonna do this anyway. Then I have the Tornas's Tinkering. I guess I could have also just bounced the strong bull there. I'm kind of not realizing all the plays there, but maybe I'm not bouncing it. I'm just gonna attack into it. Just gonna attack into it. They might not even block here. Now they have only 1 mana available, so this should be. They're gonna make this into a 3/4, and then they will lose the guy. They sack the Wellspring, draw a card, then they are tapped out, and they lose the strong bull for good. They can't even sack the statue anymore. They are down to 7. I have a machine here. Another strong bull though to the rescue. So let's now just do this thing. Okay. So my somehow weird blue-green aggro deck went the distance, won all the matches here. Okay, a little bit of a rewards there. Yeah, in fact 3-0. So I wanted to talk about it earlier during the matches, but I had stuff to talk about the matches itself. So what is kind of a special in this format? The archetypes aren't so locked into the 2-color decks. So for example, blue-green based on the Signpost uncommon is supposed to be the kind of a ramp into big stuff, use a lot of prototype creatures. I have exactly 1 prototype creature in the deck, and that even isn't castable as a prototype unless I have the Stalwart. But still this worked quite well by just using what blue and green does. Green has some combat tricks, some Argothian sprites, very good 2-drops. And blue has these flyers with prowess and take flight was important here. Some bounce. I didn't even like the autonomous assembly wasn't like a game deciding bomber. I don't think in any of the games. Transmogrant's Crown did draw me a few cards. Yeah, that was relevant, but I think only in 1 game. So you don't have to kind of only draft in this format. That applies to other color pairs too. You don't have to just see what the Signpost uncommon does, and then that's what you have to do for the color pairs. This was a really very random deck, but it had this was like a basic limited. Just have a mana curve with 2-drops, 3-drops, and then ways to push through some damage. The Tornas's Tinkering is like it's a little bit of an experimental thing, but it's not a foolish idea to run 4 mana tricks in this deck, because you can see about the mana curve. I can afford to do it. If I had like a 3-4 mana creatures, of course running 2 4-mana tricks after that would make a pretty stacked 4 slot in the curve, so that wouldn't be so great. But when you have most of your creatures are 2 and 3 mana creatures, you can play stuff like Turnos' Tinkering, because of course the permanent +2/+2 on the creature and the fact you can untap it to surprise block, they are things that can be really relevant, especially the +2/+2 that stays. And this has the kind of the mode that if you don't have a creature, you can still make any artifact or a land into a 2/2 creature regardless. So you can do that if you really need to, but that's usually a bad deal, I would say, because a 2/2 isn't such a high impact thing, and you don't really want to, make your lands into creatures, because then you lose the mana tapping. Well, you don't lose the mana tapping ability, but if you lose the creature in combat or you just attack with it, you have to tap it, so you can't often get mana from the land if it's a creature, but it's still a nice option to have. But yeah, another Thropy draft there, and let's hope this continues until the last draft of the Brothers War. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I will have 3 more drafts coming before the next set, but I'm not. That could be wrong. Anyway, thank you for watching. Well, first of all, let's claim the nice prize here, get some play-in points as well. And now, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.